What's up, YouTube cannabis cultivators? You have just tuned in. Look, this video is gonna get restricted, so I'm not even gonna try to go with the guidelines because they're just gonna fucking block it anyway. So I'm just gonna be myself. And I've been missing in action for a little bit. I just kind of been relaxing. I finished up a grow. I just uploaded that whole full-length documentary, but I kind of just been chilling. It's been a while since we actually had a conversation like this. And a lot of times when I start these type of videos, I always start by introducing myself and talk about how long I've been doing this and how my channel is one of the oldest dedicated to the cultivation of cannabis. And a lot of the times I get some guys in the comments that are like, yeah, right, man. And it's kind of crazy to me, but yeah, it is what it is. Sorry, haters. But you know what, man? What I want to do today is I kind of want to talk about the original YouTube channels, not including mine, that started this whole shit. Because I'll give you a little brief history of how I know it, and then people can chime in the comments like they always do. But if you do, make sure you have some fucking, you know, backup. You have some fucking references and shit. You just can't be talking shit out your ass, you know, without any kind of references. So if you're gonna come and drop something in the comments, then make sure you can back that shit up, or else nobody's gonna take you serious, man. So I started this channel back in 2012, and when I first started, I honestly can't even tell you why I did it. I just, you know, I thought it was kind of cool how, actually I do remember. Hey, listen, I'm not looking for no handout, but I do appreciate the support. And if I can give you something back in return that's of value to you, then that feels even better for me. These shears right here are not more special than any other shears. They don't have special technology or anything like that, but they do the job. These are the ones I use. I've been using them forever too. They're stainless steel, so they're easy to clean. And they got that curved blade, which makes it easier for you to trim up your flowers. They also got that spring action, which is less tiring on your hand. And best of all, you can take them apart and sharpen them if they get dull. These will last you forever, man. Both of these are available on my website till they sell out. And if you're looking to support the channel, I really appreciate it if you check them out. Thank you in advance. Let's get back to it. I remember people were talking about YouTube and how you can upload stuff to the internet and people all around the world can see it. And I uploaded a video to Vimeo. It wasn't even YouTube. And it was just some random shit. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was just me saying hello and going blah, 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 just some random stuff. And it got like 30 views in a week. And I remember thinking like, man, that's fucking weird. Who the fuck are these people who are watching me? Where are they watching me from? And it tripped me out. So that was kind of like, that got my interest in uploading videos. But at the same time, you know, I was going through a whole back injury thing. Well, I was coming off a back injury and I wanted to start growing because I was going to dispensaries at the time. And I thought that maybe if I can grow it, then it'd be a little less expensive, and then I can control the quality. Actually, there's a story behind that as well. I went to this dispensary up here because there was a lot of medical dispensaries in the area and they weren't regulated. And there's this one dispensary up in Silmar. And I used to go there because it was cheap, and I used to get Trainwreck was my shit, right? I used to love Trainwreck. Helped with my back, helped with motivation because of my back, right? But anyway, this one day I went in there and I'd smoked a little bit before, actually a lot before I went in there. And I sat down, I signed my name in, I sat down and I was waiting. And there were like a few people in the lobby that were just like tripping, man. Like they're like yelling and talking to themselves and shit. And it tripped me the fuck out, dude. I mean, I'm sure they probably had some kind of mental issues. But, you know, I was sitting in that lobby like, what the fuck is in this weed, man? Like, they better not be lacing this shit. And it kind of scared me a little bit. And that's really the point where I decided, like, yeah, I need to start growing my own shit so I can control, you know, what goes into it. But like I said, that was February 2012 when I uploaded my first video to YouTube. And it was just some clones, or a clone that I got from a local dispensary, a clone-only dispensary. It was the only one in the valley, by the way, They had some nice genetics too. I'm sad that they went out of business. But before I actually uploaded my videos, I was watching other people on YouTube. Now, during that time, there was guys that were making cannabis-related content, like cultivation content, right? There was a lot of point and shoot. So there was guys with the camera, like, oh, this is my plant. This is, I'm gonna do this, and this is this and this and this, and look at this light, you know, stuff like that. And then there was a few videos that were just like ridiculous with the detail. And there were only a few guys back then, only that I remember anyways. So I want to talk about those guys. So we got to start with Mr. Green Grows Chronic. If you know who I'm talking about, give a thumbs up in the comment section. That guy. So yeah, I looked into him. I mean, I was watching him back in 2012, but I looked into him, and it looks like he first started uploading in 2010. So this guy might be one of the oldest guys on YouTube that was showing people how to, you know, cultivate or grow. He was doing hydroponics, of course, and it was super entertaining because this guy used to paint his face green, and he had a bucket hat and shit, and sometimes he'd whisper.
Welcome to my grow room.
Is we got these Rockwell cues. It was pretty fucking awesome. So that dude, he has to be the OG. I don't know what happened to his channel. I did find another channel that looked like it was made in 2013 maybe, but I remember seeing this guy back in 2012, and I've seen content that other people uploaded from 2010. So this guy's got to be one of the oldest guys on YouTube. Look him up. I'm gonna put the links in the description section. Some of the videos. I don't know if it's the correct channel, but at least you get to see who I'm talking about, and the guy gets credit. So yeah, that guy was pretty interesting, and I appreciated the content that he was uploading at the time. Hey, I'm gonna be a little bit off subject right now, but I just want to tell you about these ad lights that Mars Hydro makes. They got UV, they got infrared and deep red, and all of them have benefits to the plants. So there's all sorts of fucking studies that have been made. Look into them, check them out. Link is in the description of this video. All right, let's get back to it. Another guy that actually influenced me a lot, his name was Subcool420. I think the name of his channel is Weed Nerd. I can't remember exactly. I'll look for it and I'll post it probably now as I'm talking. But yeah, so this dude, and the reason why I say that he influenced me is because this guy was doing living organics way back in the day. So Subcool420 was using a very old school method. I'm not sure where he learned it from, but it's a trip, dude. That guy's a trip. I'm sure these guys up there in Northern California, I mean, they've been doing it for generations. And you know, I recently went up to an event up there, and it just fucking tripped me out. You know, people's parents and grandparents up there just growing weed for generations. So it's a trip. You know what he was doing was he was mixing these big batches of soil, and he was letting them sit, and he called it cook. And I've heard that before. There's a book called True Living Organics by a guy named The Rev. I'll leave a link in the description section of this video, but he describes that in his book as well. And what he's saying is that these ingredients are so hot that you got to let them kind of decompose a little bit so the nutrients become available. And I understand that, but I had different ideas. I mean, I like the ideas of these organic nutrients, but I thought to myself, like, why can't I use these organic nutrient mixes? You know what I mean? Like down to earth vegetable, right? Because it's all the same ingredients that Subcool was using, but they were just all mixed together already. I didn't have to buy all these separate single ingredient fertilizers. And then I also thought to myself, well, shit, isn't it gonna break down anyway? So if I just mix everything together and just drop the plant in there, it's gonna be breaking down as the plant is in the soil. But that guy, he's an OG. Big props to Subcool420. Big influence on me. Dude passed away a few years ago, so R.I.P. Subcool. Man, I appreciate you what you did for the community and what you did for me. So another guy, this is an OG dude. He was probably uploading in 2010 as well. Or the name of the channel was Growing with Mr. Tight. His channel was deleted a long time ago, so, and he never continued to upload or start a new channel. He just he said, fuck it, dude, it's too much. You know, I'm sure he invested a lot of time and effort into his channel and all the content that he created, and all of a sudden, you know, some YouTube's gonna come and take it away from him, and like he never existed. It's hard to find any information on Growing with Mr. Tight. I did find an interview that was done by Herbin Farmer back in 2015. You know, Herbin Farmer is an OG in his own right. He was doing no-till indoor before anyone. But in this interview, Mr. Tight kind of talks about the history, how he got things started, what he used to do. Mr. Tight was one of the first guys to use LEDs. So back in 2012, when I first started growing, what was going around at that time was that the light has to be a certain spectrum. You need a fucking metal halide MH for veg because it's got blue in it, and you need fucking HPS in bloom because it's got red in it, right? So, and if you don't have red in it, then your plant's not gonna fucking flower. And everybody fucking believed this, by the way. It was all in the forums. I'm sure it's erased by now. People were making videos on it back in YouTube. People were talking shit about fucking LEDs and shit. Yeah, that was the situation at the time. But Mr. Tight was the first guy to actually grow from start to finish using LEDs. And really, that's what got my attention with the LEDs too, because, you know, at the time I was using HPS and MH just like everybody else suggested, and it was fucking hot. I live in Southern California. You know, it's hot out here, especially in the summer. And HPS and MH is hot as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to control that heat. But I remember Mr. Tight was one of the first guys to get sponsored too. He was sponsored by a company called UFO LEDs. If anybody remembers the UFOs, they were like purple fucking lights in the shape of it was a cylindrical fucking LED light, you know, and it looked like a UFO. So I guess that's why they called it UFO. But big props to Growing with Mr. Tight, wherever you are. Actually, I did hear that he started a seed company. Fuck, dude, what's the name of his seed company? I'm not gonna be able to post it, by the way. It's got the Statue of Liberty on it. But another guy that was making videos back in the day, and I think this guy started around the same time I did, 2012 or maybe even 2011. His name's MedGrower 1. And he did a lot of point and shoot stuff, but he was very educational as well. And he was uploading constantly. So that guy's been growing for a long time. He's still around. I heard that he lost his channel. He hasn't been able to access his channel for a few years. He got shut down a few times as well. He's on Instagram. But, you know, a lot of his content's lost and his legacy's lost. And it makes me a little sad because, you know, this guy contributed to it. I mean, if it wasn't for these guys that were fucking brave at that time when shit was illegal and motherfuckers were taking risks and shit, you know, all these other motherfuckers that came along that copied or just, I mean, they contributed as well. I don't want to say, you know, people are making videos now, they're contributing and it's good. It's a good thing. But what I'm saying is, like, there's people like that don't get any credit, that really put shit on the line and took risks. So another dude that I remember was Vader Vision. Yeah, so this guy was making really high quality videos at the time, and to this day, if you watch them, they're really well made. He was narrating over them. He had like series similar to what I'm doing, so he kind of influenced me as well. He was heavily into breeding, so he was talking a lot about breeding. I think he's got a seed company as well now. I don't know if he's uploading anymore, but that's an OG right there too. He's been doing it for a long time. Now, these are some of the guys that I remember. Of course, there was a few others that were doing it. I can't remember their names right now off the top of my head. Maybe just a handful, though. Not as big as the guys I mentioned. Oh, wait a minute. Dirt Warrior. There's a guy named Dirt Warrior from Canada, I think, and this motherfucker was out there fucking showing you how to do gorilla grows out in the fucking forest. That guy was wild. And then I also got to give big props to the Greenhouse Seed Company. They had this series called I can't remember what it's called, but I'm gonna fucking link it, and I'm probably gonna show it on the screen right now. But what they would do is they would take their strains that they, the seeds that they make, and they would grow it on screen, and they would give you updates. And it was a full series. It was almost like what I do, where it's like a full documentary, usually about 20 minutes long, and they take you from start to finish. And they were using nutrients, so they'd be like, oh yeah, the EC was 3.2, the fucking temperature was so and so, the height of the plant is this, and at the end of the grow, they would weigh out the dry weight of the fucking, the wet weight of the fucking leaves, stems, and flowers. And that's where I got that idea. So big influence for me too. There was another video that was made probably even earlier than that. It looks like it was VHS and it was transferred over to digital, and it's foreign. It's probably from somewhere in Europe, and there's like fucking 20 to 30 minutes of just bullshit. You know what I mean? I guess it's one of those videos like where if I don't know, somebody finds it and they put it in the VHS player and shit, and it would just play like 20 minutes of just bullshit, and then eventually it would start. But that's what it did. Eventually it started, and this guy took you through the whole fucking grow, starting from the building of the room, all the way through the planting and the veg and the flower and the drying. It was crazy detailed. And I'm gonna link that as well. You guys gotta watch that shit. I've been kind of keeping that to myself, but I think it's time these people get some credit. And all the people that I mentioned were the OGs and the beginners and the guys that set this shit off. But the last two videos I talked about, the Greenhouse Seed Company and the one from overseas, are my two major influences. And nobody was making videos like that. For a long time, I didn't show my face, because I felt like the reason I was doing this was because I have a debt to this plant, and it has to do with an injury I had and how it helped me. And I didn't think it was necessary for me to show my face. I wasn't trying to be fucking YouTube famous. Nobody was paying me. YouTube doesn't pay you for this shit. I mean, that's the reason I take on sponsors, and I'm very choosy, by the way. I get fucking people emailing me all the time, but I stick to the people I know. I stick to the products that I know work, because the last thing that I want to do is lead someone in the wrong direction, the wrong path. When I first started growing, it was difficult, and I know that the videos on YouTube really helped, and those OGs, the ones I watched, Subquote 420, Growing with Mr. Tight, MedGrower, Vader, Greenhouse Seed Company, all those motherfuckers helped me a lot, and they steered me in the right direction. So that's what I wanted to do. Anyway, that's all the time I got for you today. So I want to thank you for watching, commenting, and subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Don't forget to check out the links in the description section of this video. Follow me on Instagram. Check out my Patreon. Hit that notify bell. And if you like this video, click like. Peace.